Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It is me, Kay, and I'm here today to review Beyond the Gates, Season 2, Episode 109. I'm here to tug at some wigs today. Martin, your wig will be tugged at today. And Danny, your wig will be tugged at today. Let's just get through, the stuff we don't care about, like Vanessa. Vanessa, and Joey are still together post-tornado. They're at Joey's penthouse. They're talking about, Deanna finding out that Vanessa was with Joey. Joey apologized. Not really sure if he meant it, And so Vanessa was like, we'll be okay. We'll be like all other mothers and daughters. We'll just move past it. I was like, okay, well, maybe you must not have met your daughter, because she definitely did not move past it, but that's neither here nor there. So, while they're still there, Kat, Ted, Leslie, Isaiah, Smitty, and Martin are still at the hospital because Martin is finishing up, getting released because Madison did say he could go home, which she recommended him stay, and he was hard-headed, and he's leaving. Nicole have taken Samantha and Tyrell back. Smitty stayed back to be with Martin. So while Kat is down there in the waiting room by herself, in the lobby by herself, Ted comes back and, tells her that, Eva will need a donor to, for her liver transplant or whatever. And so remember last time I said that if a person needed a new liver, a donor could donate a piece of their liver, and then both livers will regenerate and create a whole new liver for the other person, right? So Ted and everybody are basically getting tested to see if they're a match with Eva. So Martin comes down with Smitty off the elevator and sees that Ted and Kat are sitting there. And so then they, bring him up to speed on everything that's going on with Eva. So Ted has gotten tested. Leslie's gotten tested. I think Isaiah got tested. And they said Andre couldn't get tested because Andre was on medication at the time. So Ted and Leslie, whom are supposed to be the parents, are not a match. Now, I don't know how genetics work, but I was thinking that if two people have a child, then the child would be half of one and half of the other one. So I'm kind of confused, and I might have to do some further research. I'm kind of confused as to why neither one of the parents was a match for Eva. But I digress. Moving on. When Martin understands that none of them are a match, him and Smitty says they'll get tested. And so then they're looking to Kat, and they ask Kat, is she gonna get tested? Kat has not made up her mind on what she wants to do. It's given that Kat don't want to get tested. Kat don't want to donate. Now, I can understand Kat's hesitancies, but I think there is something bigger that we may be missing. And it kind of happened a while ago when it came down to getting tested for Anita and the BRCA gene. So Kat, once everybody tried to pressure Kat to get tested about the BRCA gene, Kat kind of fussed everybody out, and it kind of sort of was very reminiscent this time, the same way. Martin, you were wrong. Very wrong. Because why would you talk to her like that? But listening to the way that Martin was talking to Kat, it seems as though he called her Princess Cat. I don't know if Cat got some kind of special treatment or something when they was younger, because we're not really privy into what happened when they grew up. But it's given that Martin must have felt the way as a child, and he felt like Cat got away with everything. And so now he was kind of calling Cat a brat and, you know, petty because, you know, her and Eva don't like each other. And he was saying that, you know, just because you don't want to share a father, that doesn't mean you don't have to be a donor. You know, she's your blood. You gonna let her die. You know, all kinds of things. And it wasn't the time and place for that. It was not. Martin, it was not the time and the place. You was wrong. But in that same vein, Martin kind of had a point. And in that same vein, Cat kind of, even though Martin verbally attacked Cat, her walking away and not explaining, to me, kind of made his point. But I totally understood Cat, because she was right. Like, who are you to say? You don't know. Just don't assume, you know, that she had these ill feelings or whatever. Maybe the reason why she doesn't want to be a donor or doesn't want to get tested is because, like she said, there are real fears. Now, I'm trying to figure out if Cat maybe had health issues when she was younger, or, you know, with her being a miracle baby, was there something going on, like, while Nicole was pregnant, or, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to figure out, like, what exactly, or does she just, like, have a phobia of hospitals? Does she have a phobia of, like, you know, getting sick? Like, I just feel like there's more. There's more to the whole Cat thing. But yeah, Martin was absolutely out of line. Smitty tried to diffuse the situation the best he could, but sometimes Martin is just very overbearing, and he's quite aggravating when he's in such a mood, because it's like you can't tell him nothing. So I was like, And then on the flip side of that, them calling Andre, well, Cat calling Andre, wow, Vanessa is at Joey's house. Joey leaves. I mean, not Joey leaves. Vanessa leaves the house because Danny calls her and was like, I need to talk to you. So out of all the people you call and confess your sins to, Danny, you call Vanessa? I'm like, girl, why you didn't call Nicole? I mean, Pamela, you didn't call Pamela? I don't know. Vanessa? I'm just like, Danny must have been like, I understand they friends, but Danny must have been real desperate to want to spread that kind of tea to Vanessa. Because I don't know, I feel like Vanessa would use that. Vanessa just put you out the other day when you tried to ask her something. So I just thought that was weird. So while Vanessa is at Danny's house, Joey has Vanessa followed, which, you know, she doesn't know. But while Vanessa is at Danny's house, his sister Heather shows up at his penthouse, you know, asking for him to join the deal again, saying she's going back to London. She wants to be business partners. And I'm just like, I think eventually Joey might say yes. I can't see Joey not saying yes to his sister. But I'm just like, why all of a sudden they bringing the sister around though? Like, what is it? What is it? Back to Danny. I got to tug on Danny's, because Danny, I'm glad Danny felt remorseful. I am glad Danny felt remorseful. But at the same time, Danny, baby cakes, that's not no mistake, gang. It's a whole lot of steps you got to pass before y'all get to laying down and, in the words of my homegirl Erica Vane, bumping uglies. You know, it's a whole lot of steps that got to happen before we get there. Somebody should have been saying no. And then it's the amount of guilt that she feels. because she has been unfaithful. But then it's the fact that Vanessa, somebody who's a friend, didn't encourage you to tell the truth. She encouraged you to have a conversation with Bill, if I'm not mistaken, and to make sure he's on the same page. Because everybody has been seeing the looks that Bill and you have been exchanging. They've seen your relationship change since the whole thing with Chelsea. They've seen the looks that Bill gives Andre. And so I'm just like, DANI, you'd rather go and have a conversation with Bill than tell Andre the truth because you feel like the truth's gonna hurt Andre. When in actuality, the lie, if Andre finds out, is what's gonna hurt. I'm wondering if some kind of footage, if the camera was still rolling, if the camera in the elevator was on a generator, who saw them come off the elevator together? Or who's gonna see the elevator? Is there gonna be elevator footage? I need to know. Did Vernon see him come off? Because y'all know Vernon was going around doing walkthroughs and stuff. But here's my biggest gripe with DANI. Not only did you say that you was gonna talk to Bill and make sure he was on the same page, it was the fact that you was okay with hiding it. Okay? And covering up the lie. You have told Andre countless amount of stories about how Bill was unfaithful and how you can't stand his cheating tail and how he made you feel. The deception that went with Bill and his multiple affairs. Then when everyone found out that Ted cheated on Nicole and he hid it for years, y'all called that man all kind of names. So here you are, looking like the hypocrite, saying that you about to lie to your husband or go and get in cahoots with your ex-husband to lie to your current husband about the entanglement in which y'all had. You told Vanessa that if it's happened before the commitment, it would have been fine. But now that y'all are committed and y'all are married, it's an issue. DANI, this is not your first infraction, sister. You and Bill have kissed while you was married to Andre 2 other times before this entanglement. So that's where I have the problem, because that makes DANI the biggest hypocrite across the board. Now, we don't know what Andre has been doing, but for what we, the audience, can say is that we haven't seen him do anything. And I'm just like, you really up here trying to gather yourself. And then when Andre is asleep on the couch, after she, after he tries to go to the hospital, she, is downstairs saying, "What are you doing?" and helping him get back on the couch because he's still in pain and the medicine is kicking in. And he falls back asleep, and she's just repeatedly and tearfully saying, I'm sorry, Andre, I'm sorry, Andre. DANI, I'm done. Like, I just don't know, because I can't say that I don't see Andre committing this same type of betrayal, but I'm just like, I understand her conflicting feelings toward her ex-husband. I've been more than understanding. You know what I mean? I could see, like, her processing and her having those mini conversations with Andre about how she let herself get so low. But I'm just like, girl, you still haven't dealt with the feelings that's still there. The feelings that you so desperately are trying to get rid of but are still there. And so you need, and it ain't like, it's not like Danny didn't know how Bill feels. She knows Bill is remorseful of, you know, what happened. She knows that Bill wishes that they would still be married. I'm pretty sure she knows that Bill has said that he regrets marrying Haley. And he calls her baby. Like, they're too friendly to be ex-spouses. And it ain't like they got to talk and deal with each other all the time, because their children are real grown. Real grown. And so I'm just like, Danny, I want to be on your side, sister, but I can't be for this, because you did wrong. You did wrong. You did wrong, Danny. And I'm interested to see how Andre is going to find out about all of this. Then, on the other hand, we have Bill, who is just sitting in a hotel because him and Haley are currently displaced because there's a tree in front of their house. They at the hotel, they got them a room. And I don't know if it comes up that Bill tried to accuse Haley of having an entanglement with Kyle in the closet, even though her and Kyle did kiss, but she was very offended, which I'm just like, girl, bye. But I'm pretty sure Haley knows that Bill was probably with Danny at the hotel, because she kept commenting on how she can't believe he was in the stairwell and he don't have no like dirt on him or no kind of remains or nothing, you know, debris, and that he's clean. But at the same time, I'm just like, Haley ain't really had no debris on her either. I mean, she had a little spot on her shoulder, she had a little spot on her face, but she ain't really have much. And so I'm just like, Then Bill proceeds to say, oh, well, if I really thought you did something with Kyle, I would head up to Genoa City myself, or I'll head up to Wisconsin myself and take care of him. And I was just like, Bill, are you serious right now, for real? Are you being for real, Bill? That's not gonna fly, gang. That is not gonna fly. And then it's just the fact that he said he was in the stairwell by himself. Then he's talking about some, oh, Haley said, well, what did you do to pass the time? And he gave no answer. I'm just like, my God. And then at the end of the episode, him and Haley started kissing. And I'm just like, Bill, I know you're not about to have relations with your wife after you was just having relations with your ex-wife in the elevator. You ain't even to no bath or nothing. That's just nasty. Very unsanitary. Very. So I'm just like, oh my God. Like, it's just a whole lot of this triflingness going on across this family. I mean, my goodness. And Haley's talking about something, I can't believe you accused me of doing anything with Kyle. Girl, you might not have had a relationship with Kyle, but you was definitely acting like you wasn't a married woman. And just so happened to slide your rings back on when you saw Bill. So, girl, please. It might have been a kiss. You might not have went full all the way. But had you had a little bit of more time, you might have. Anyway. So yeah, y'all, I guess following, we're still going to see the aftermath of, you know, the whole situation with Eva and Kat. And if Kat's going to decide to donate or not. Eva is, you know, currently unconscious. She's on a ventilator right now. So I'm interested to see how everything's going to play out. You know, how she'll feel. Because, you know, Kat feels guilty. She feels really bad what happened to Eva, you know. She was like, she knew they hated each other. But I'm just like, you know, when somebody's life is on the line, you know, your sentiment and your outlook tends to change, you know. Because even though you might not like a person, you don't want, you know, the worst to happen to them. So I'm interested to see, like, how this is going to go forward. And if Ted and Leslie are even Eva's, if Ted and, yeah, are they even Eva's parents for real? Leslie, what you done did? Is this going to be a 1001 situation? Y'all know how, have y'all seen 1001 when Tiana took that baby and that baby ain't belong to her? I'm interested to see how all that's going to play out. But yeah, y'all, I think that's all I have for this episode 109. I'll be back tomorrow with episode 110. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back with more videos. Deuces.